One Friday in December, I had led a communications seminar in Long Beach, California. As I was packing up, the CEO passed the conference room on his way out. He walked in and sat down, and we exchanged holiday wishes. He then said, "There's something I want to make sure you tell everyone who attends these programs. So often, people come into my office for a meeting. They start talking about ideas. Their style of speaking reminds me of a drum solo at a jazz club. They are fast and often all over the place. I want them to practice speaking in an organized way so I can follow the train of thought." Isn't that a terrific analogy? The rat-a-tat-tat of a drum solo. That's just one example of a behavior that can undermine an otherwise brilliant employee in the mind of a senior member of the leadership team. Here in the Highflier Handbook, you'll hear about ways to avoid this and other unintentional behaviors to make certain you are seen as you would want to be seen. Next, in my last year at USC and just before graduation, one of my professors asked me if I'd like to accompany him to a speech he was asked to give. One of the fraternities asked him to speak about communication and leadership. I was to act as his gopher. Merriam-Webster says a gopher is an employee whose duties include running errands, and I was happy to do it. At that point, I had not actually decided to be a consultant. The general path for a PhD graduate like me in communication studies was to apply for a professorship at a different academic program. But something changed my mind. The president of the fraternity introduced my boss and said, "Today we'll get some suggestions on how we can show leadership to the Interfraternity Council." He continued by saying, "For instance, how can I show more leadership among the brothers when there are major disagreements?" The first thing I heard the professor say was, "I'm not here to give you tips about leadership. What I am going to do is lay out some communication theory and ideas." In other words, he was going to conduct what would amount to the class he taught. I thought to myself, here's someone who wants some suggestions on how to do something better, and the professor either won't do it or can't do it. That afternoon, I decided to do what I've spent my career doing, advising clients on how to become more effective communicators with maximum credibility who are destined for leadership roles. The Highflier Handbook will lay out for you just what those techniques and strategies are.